Hi guys! I am very excited to share today's video with you all. For this tutorial, we will visit 3 different strategies to use when learning or teaching multiplication of decimals. If you are an educator, you can find the links to the fully editable PowerPoint slides below. I hope you can get a lot of use out of them, so let's get started. The first strategy we will go over is multiplying with decimals using models. In this example here, 4 times 36 hundredths is the same as combining 4 groups that each contain 36 hundredths. So we'll first model 36 hundredths here. As you can see, I have 3 tenths rounds and 6 hundredths rounds that together make 36 hundredths. Now I will create 4 of these groups of 36 hundredths since our problem is 4 times 36 hundredths. And here we have them. Okay, great. I have our models tucked up here in the corner, and it is time to combine our models together, or add them up in other words. A quick review on adding decimals. If you still struggle or need extra practice with adding or subtracting decimals, I like to place my rounds on my place value chart here. That way it is easier to visualize and regroup. I already have my place value chart with the rounds filled in here. As you can see, I took all the tenths rounds from our model and placed them into the tenths place. And I took all the hundredths rounds from our model and placed them into the hundredths place. Now we can add them together. When adding, we start with the place value all the way to the right. Here we will start in the hundredths place. I know that I will have to regroup here because for every 10 hundredths rounds, I know I'll have to regroup. Let's do that now. I will count out 10 hundredths rounds here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now I know that these first 10 hundredths will be regrouped and form 1 tenth, just like this. Do we have another 10 hundredths? Let's find out. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great! These 10 hundredths form another 1 tenth. We are left with 4 hundredths. Not enough to regroup again, so we would leave those alone. Let's now focus on our next space here, the tenths. I can see we have to regroup once again. Start by counting out 10 with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great! These 10 tenths rounds will form one whole. Amazing work! I can see that we have 4 tenths left, so we do not have enough to regroup again. We will leave those alone. I am checking out the ones placed now, and I see that we do not have enough to regroup, since we only have 1. So the next step is to count, or total up, the rounds left in each place value space. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see that we have 4 hundredths here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see that we have 4 tenths here. And 1. I can see that we have 1 whole here. When we add them together, we get the sum of 1 and 44 hundredths. You can also add your 4 groups of 36 hundredths the traditional way as well, if you are very familiar and comfortable with adding your decimals, just like this. So now we know that 4 times 36 hundredths, which is the same as 4 groups of 36 hundredths combined together, has a product of 1 and 44 hundredths. How great is that? Using models is a great representation of the concept and helps us to set up for our next method here. Our next strategy here is the traditional method. You may know it as using the standard algorithm. Multiplying decimals is very similar to multiplying whole numbers without decimals. So if you already know how to do that, then you will do great here. The main thing to watch out for is the placement of our decimal in our product. But don't worry, we will go over that together now. Okay, so let's get started. The first step is to multiply as you normally would. Just ignore the decimal for now and multiply the numbers together using the traditional method as you normally do. So here we will start with 6 times 4, which is 24. So I will place my 4 here and regroup by 2. Now 4 times 3 is 12, but don't forget to add that 2 we regrouped, so we get 14. I will place my 4 here and regroup the 1. Now 4 times 0 is 0, but I have this 1 here that we regrouped, so that makes 1. Great so far. Now step 2 is how to go about placing the decimal in your product. If you follow these steps here, you will be just fine. First, imagine a wall on the right side of your factors, just like this. Now we will count out how many numbers you move in until you reach the decimal point, which is our stopping point for each row or line of numbers. Okay, let's start with the top row here. I am starting at the wall here and moving in until I reach the decimal point. Let's count. 1, 2. Okay, great. We have reached the decimal point, so we cannot go in any more spaces. So that is 2 decimal places. Do we need to count the bottom row with the 4? No. If the row does not have a visible decimal point, then you do not have to count it in at all. We only count the numbers that have decimal points in them. So for this particular problem, we moved 2 spaces in, so we'll do the same for our product. Let's look at our product so far. I know in a whole number, such as 144, the decimal point would start all the way to the right of the number. So I'll place this pink decimal point here to represent that. Now we will move 2 decimal spaces in, or to the left. 1, 2. Great! That is where we would place our decimal point. So now we know that 36 hundredths times 4 gives us a product of 1 and 44 hundredths, using the traditional method. And the last strategy to understand is using partial products. For partial products, we multiply by using place values. So the first partial product is found by multiplying 4 times 6 hundredths, and that would be 24 hundredths. Next we'll multiply 4 and 3 tenths, and that will give us 1 and 2 tenths. Notice that I am lining up my decimals correctly in order to add our partial products when we are finished. Finally, we will multiply 4 times 0, and that would give us 0. So I do not have to include that here for 0, since that would not change the value here at all. Okay, so now that we have all of our partial products, you can go ahead and add zeros as placeholders if that helps you add your decimals here. I will place my 0 here. It does not change the value of our numbers, but it just may make it easier when totaling our numbers, especially when working with decimals. Okay, so here we go. When we total up our numbers here, we get a sum of 1 and 44 hundredths. Great job! I hope you enjoyed these 3 strategies for multiplying with decimals. Comment below which is your favorite strategy to work with. And remember, you can find the links to these PowerPoint slides to use in your very own classrooms as well in the descriptions below. Thank you for watching. Bye!